What's going on, everybody? Mike McFarland here, sitting in the corner, about to give you guys a public rundown for March 11th about the world famous Lake Fork. That's right. Let's go to the board. It's kind of getting interesting here at Lake Fork with the low levels. As we talked the other day, we were down to 39662. It stalled at 39660, stabilized. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it and why I'm very optimistic about the future of the lake level. It also raised almost an inch. So we are now 396.68. Remember when I put an arrow on there, that means rising water. Okay? Very important point. I'm going to say it again and again throughout the year. Falling water points the fish out. Rising water rises fish. It means brings them in. So right now it's perfect timing. It's spring. We get a little bit of rise, almost a whole inch. Okay, and those fish feel more comfortable to migrate in when it's time to spawn. Okay, clarity. This is probably why I noticed yesterday the rising water. We lost a little bit of clarity in some places. We haven't really had any heavy rains. Although Old Man Winter did resurface, some light rains and a little bit of ice and ice rain and not so much snow, but we did have enough apparently, and for good reason here in a minute. You'll understand why we came up an inch, which is very cool. But the clarity, I put 0 to 2 feet. In some places, it's only 6, 8 inches, maybe a foot. Down south, it's going to be pretty darn clear water. Temperatures. We started the week off very low, 49s and 52s. Remember what my good friend Mark Pack used to say, that water's below 54 degrees, you're going to grind, every last one of us. You may catch a few one day and not the next. And that's pretty much exactly what this week was. I did have a pretty decent week. Had the Morton family with me. If you remember seeing the report on Tuesday, we actually fished in some really nasty conditions. And Mr. Morton Sr. called himself a nice personal best. And backed it up with another good fish as well. It was very unique. I'm not going to tell you about those baits in the private corner. In the public, but I am going to tell you in the members. So if you're not a subscriber of the members and you want to know more detail, be sure and go there. But I promise you this time, I'm going to give you some information. I know some of you are wanting a little more of that fishing, what I'm catching them on. So stick around in this public report. I'm going to tell you how to catch them too. Okay. But by the end of the week, again, we were right back at that 52, 56. Did not fish today. Canceled again because it's cold, cold, cold. 20 to 30 mile an hour north winds. I was in Sulphur Springs and it was almost trying to snow. It's crazy. It's not abnormal for this time of year. What is abnormal, in my opinion, I'm not a Texan. I wasn't born and raised here. It isn't that we've had snow at Easter here before. What is abnormal is the amount of it. We usually Texas two-step. 2 days warm, 1 day cold. 1 day cold, 4 days warm. It just really seems to be cold upon cold upon cold. And we just cannot get the core of that lake warmed up like it should be by mid-March. So here we are, March 11th. We're right there on the parameter. We have a moon phase coming, and I'm going to tell you what. The lake's about to go off, okay? Next week's outlook is really good. Monday, 46 for a low, 69 high. Tuesday, 42 low, 68 high. It really goes that way through the whole week. As long as the weathermen are correct, by the end of the week, we have some almost 80-degree days. So we are definitely going to warm trend back. If I take you back to last week, before the cold hit again, what we were catching the fish on, it was because we were warm. And those males, the bucks, had moved back into the backwaters. They had moved back into the ditches, drains, and cuts. If you're a members only, you'll understand my number system, and I'll put you right on them. If you follow the page, you'll see the seminar that I gave for the construction company, and the top 4 teams took every bit of my advice and absolutely creamed the fish. I have 2 personal messages from them. One from the winners thanking me for the rule of 3 and the baits I told them to use. And a second team telling me that it's one of the best days they've ever had on fork. All right. So the system works. All right. You want to know what rule of 3 is? You want to know more details? Subscribe to members. But I'm going to help you out right now too as well. And right here, I do love you guys as well in the public. Okay. Public report. A lot of subscribers out there. Over 3,000. I want to help you out. So here's what I'm actually doing. When the water warm trends, there's a lot of the males that are in the backwaters. They're shallow. And the main thing that I caught them on last week was a Texas rig, a really light Texas rig, 3/16 ounce tungsten pegged on a 3-odd hook, okay, offset, 20-pound fluorocarbon. Don't ever come to fork with anything less. I would never, ever, ever go bear hunting with a BB gun. If you're in a tournament here and you don't care about losing the big fish, you don't care about the slots, you really might want to use the lighter line. You might get more bites. But if you're to catch a fish of a lifetime, make sure you have the right line. So what I throw that on is my real-time rods, signature series. That's an MB 7'3", 1020. Okay, it's a 4-power rod. It's very sensitive. It is my signature series and will have my name on it as of this year. I'm also running a Daiwa Tatula 150. I usually crank the drag down pretty good, but here's what we're doing. Okay, Texas rigging, the B&M chopstick. B&M chopstick. Okay, real simple bait. It's basically a Senko. 3 colors that I'm using. Okay, a black and blue with a blue tail. Texas smoke. By the way, here's the black and blue with the blue tail. And then, of course, my absolute favorite, which I'm giving you guys to the public now. So don't think I'm not loving on you, but Okeechobee Magic. It's my absolute favorite pre-spawn color. Okay, how am I rigging that again? Another cool tip for you guys. Texas rig, but I take a look at that worm, I find the banana curve, and I make sure that that hook goes in the bottom of that banana curve, and I do not Tex-pose. There's too much wood in Lake Fork. When I do this, if I Tex-pose, all I gotta do is touch the wood and I'm stuck. But if you make sure that you have that hook on the bottom of the banana, the bend in the worm, you get a lot more action out of it and a lot more bites. Okay, so listen, there you go in the public report. I wanted to make sure you felt like I still loving on you and not directing you to the members only for the Benjamins, because I'm not. However, in the members only, there's a lot more details, a lot more future things to come, and a lot more lessons you really, really should consider subscribing. Okay. Last, I'm going to leave you with a couple more quick things in this public report. I called SRA. Remember we just talked about the water holding coming up? I got a direct report that they have used some underwater curing concrete. They're waiting for an engineer to check the latest work that they've done. Inspection by an engineer. If it's cleared, we're good to go. And any spring rains we get now will bring the lake up. So cross your fingers. The engineer could not check today due to bad weather, but hopefully Monday or Tuesday, the engineer will inspect this underwater concrete. And if it cures right, we're going to be all right, provided Mother Nature brings us a good April. Okay? So, I hope that makes some of you happy. I gave you a little more content in the public. I love you much. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed that. Subscribe to the regular channel. And once again, not to be on your back, consider subscribing to the members only channel. All right? Don't forget, if you're staying at Lake Fork Marina, the store is filled with all kinds of goodies. On Monday, when the restaurant's closed, they actually have some really good food in the marina store. And probably, in my opinion, it's our 5-star best place to stay. So if you want to book a motel, Lake Fork Marina Motel. Your second best would be the Burning Stump, and third, Lake Fork Resort. Those are my personal choices of where I would stay if I was coming to be visiting the world famous Lake Fork. So, a little bit of rambling now. I love y'all. Have a great weekend fishing. Be careful, because it's still real cold tomorrow and Sunday. and the lake is still very low.